Ready?
Kick it.
We're going to kick it every time, huh?
I think we should.
We got to go with kick it every time.
Let her rip.
Let her rip. Welcome to Hardheaded. I am Matt Amos, and with me as always is Troy Trussell and Chet Sears.
What's up?
We ready for today?
I think so.
Always.
All right. Chet, you're on the hook today. What is on your mind, sir?
I'll tell you what, gentlemen, not too long ago, I was introduced to a world that I did not know existed.
Okay.
The world of Airsoft.
Okay.
And now my son has had some Airsoft guns that we picked up at local sporting goods stores and whatnot. And I've always thought it was, I don't know, not that great. But I can tell you after playing a few rounds with some high dollar equipment and some fun dudes and some neat pieces of property, it's pretty awesome.
So how do you know when you're out? Because I know when you play paintball, if you got paint all over you, you're out.
Yep.
You can't hide it.
Yeah. So
And if one doesn't break and hit you playing paintball, you're like, oh, I'm still in.
I'll tell you, number one, you know when you're hit.
Yeah.
Like you feel it.
Yeah.
And then there's it's on your honor as well.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, most of the people that I shot, you knew you shot them as well. So it's not like you're, I didn't get hit. It's like there's two people there. There's the person shooting you and the person that got shot. So there's a level of accountability that's there as well. And in a couple cases, the blood where you got hit shows that you got hit as well.
Awesome.
So you can bleed.
You can bleed. Yeah.
Was it you?
No. Not from, briars and whatnot, yes, but not from...
Are you sure they were briars?
There were briars.
Or were you out?
Huh? No, I'm telling you. I got shot.
I see
shot.
where this is going.
But in some cases, like when you're running, and like there were a couple times that I got hit like at the same event because it's like fully automatic stuff, which by the way is awesome. But like I could hear my pant leg, like bullets hitting my pant leg while I was running. And I'm like, oh shoot, was that what? Oh yeah, that was probably some bullets. I think I'm out. I'm hit. But it's just awesome. And I'm telling you, the guns that we were using were almost the same price as like a real AR. You're shooting fully automatic or semi-automatic, red dot scopes. Yeah, well, is it a scope? If it's just a red dot sight. And it was just a whole heck of a lot of fun. And if you want to talk about stuff to do with your kids, I'd go all out. Not on the stuff that I'd bought my son in the past. It's not nearly as fun because that's like he had some stuff that was, you had to put some batteries in there, and this thing would, and it's, that this is like a whole nother level. He had some other ones that you had to cock every time you wanted to shoot it too. This is like way up there, and I had a blast. We played like, your capture the flag stuff. We played like a attack and defend,
Capture the flag.
then we did like a dads versus kids where the dads would go and hide, and the kids could regenerate if they got shot, but if the dads got shot, you're dead.
Respawn, I believe, is the correct term.
That
Whatever,
would be the correct term.
What do you got? Have you ever done it?
SOE.
Then you don't know. But yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. And I had some moments where, I was on it, because I use some of my hunting skills, not a military guy, but I know movement is the number one thing that gives you away, and I wasn't out there. I didn't have all the camo. I had somebody let me borrow their ghillie jacket.
There you go.
I'm telling you, this is world class here. But yeah, man, just sitting back and people just walk right up on you because you're just being still and you don't show a lot of movement. And you're like, gotcha. Just there's another time where I realized I wasn't that awesome as well, but I doubled around all the way back around on these guys and came in behind the flag and like took out all their defenders. Felt pretty good about that. And then my son was with me. So Stone was there, and I'm like, Stone, I got the flag. You stay about 20 feet behind me, and we're just going to run up this side. We're not going to try to sneak back. We're just going full court press all the way down. I'm going to get shot. But when the rule is when you get shot, you just drop the flag where it is. I said, so you shoot whoever shoots me and then pick up the flag and take it on back. We got this foolproof plan, right, to get all the way back. So I take off running down there. By the way, your only designation for what team you're on is a colored armband. So red band or blue, which is kind of hard to see,
Yeah.
And so I had the flag running down this hill, and I look up, and there are 3 dudes. And they're coming out of just having respawned and coming out of this area. And I'm like, oh, no. So everything starts going off in slow motion, right? And I'm running, and I'm like, well, I'm running, and I'm turning around, like trying to get a good shot at them while I'm going. And I ended up running backwards for some reason. I don't really know why.
I wish I could have been there to see that.
It was awesome. And then it's, undulating terrain, and my heel catches something, and I wipe out. And the whole time, I actually was shooting at people on my team. They were like my people, but I was running, and there was camo, and I just started, spraying. And my gun came up, and they're metal. I mean, it's like they like hit me in the forehead, scraped off. I hit on the top of my goggles, and I had like a mark on my forehead. But Stone, or my nephew at the time, anyway, I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna make the rest of the way. Somebody get the flag and run it back, and we ended up winning. But in slow motion, while I was falling over backwards, I was thinking,
Shooting at your own
I'm way too old for this.
teammates.
Yeah.
Note.
There's a lot of
Note for the zombie apocalypse.
hey.
Chet's got to go early.
I didn't hit any of them, by the way.
Even worse.
In that scenario,
Even worse.
it was awesome. So what's on my mind? That was a lot of fun, and so lots of thanks to the folks that let us borrow the equipment. And and Stone was like, at first he's like really geeked up, like, Dad, like we have, and then he's like, wait a minute, it won't be any fun if we're the only 2 people that have nice airsoft guns. We need a whole bunch of people to go in on this to make it worth their while. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So that was probably just like something we got to do when we visited family kind of thing. Unless you guys want to go in and buy some gear.
Pass.
Huh?
Pass.
Scared?
Not scared, but I know how the system works. Now, if we all had cameras, like on the barrels, because that's how you would be able to verify, right? If you have like a shot camera to make sure that when somebody's hit that they're out, and you can go back and you can, oh, look right there.
But we're not doing that. Ruined the NFL. Oh, we're gonna go back to instant replay. Like, let's just play ball here, man.
Hey,
I'm not going around telling people I didn't get shot when I got shot.
I doubt it.
Huh?
I doubt it.
Oh, geez.
Matt trusts no one.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Well, who's to say you'd even be able to shoot me?
Well, so I've never done airsoft,
Yeah.
but I've played paintball.
Yeah, this is better.
So
let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you another way. I don't know where you're going with this. I've done some paintball in my past too. It just doesn't. It's not right because they don't fly well. The sound, the hopper. It's not like these are more feet per second, fully auto, and you don't have all this hopper. Like I've been out there and the stupid cap come off, and then all the pellets are just going everywhere.
Because you didn't have the expensive hopper.
Well, I'm telling you,
You didn't have all the best
I don't know.
paintball gear.
I've done paintball.
I could see pros and cons with
I'm
both.
just telling you, airsoft is a whole lot more fun.
I played paintball for many, many weekends all through middle school. Like just out in the outdoors in ravines, and we played capture the flag and seek and destroy and all that stuff. Had a blast. But I could see where the technology, I mean, 20 something years later could be pretty awesome with some airsoft.
I was shocked.
So on that note, I would be in. I would definitely go play.
There's a dude that had one with a silencer on that sucker, and you couldn't even hear him shoot. You just feel pellets.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So I went down, this was pre-Marine Corps. And because nothing, I will tell you this, after being in the Marine Corps and experiencing the sim rounds that they use when we're doing force-on-force stuff. So it's an actual 9mm casing with basically
it's like wax.
Yeah, it's like a colored soap.
Yeah.
Basically wax soap. And you've got blue and you've got red. And when you get hit with those, you 100% know that you've been hit. And so nothing is ever compared to that because you are actually using an AR, or an M4 and just a different barrel on the top. But, so prior to that, the only time that I've really ever played was I went down to Oklahoma and there was call it a tournament, I guess. But it was called a D-Day. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was in Winoka, Oklahoma. But they had Axis versus Allies and it was a whole capture the flag type of deal. And it was a 3-day event.
Yeah.
Sleeping in tents or campers, whatever. And,
wow.
That's awesome.
And they had all the ravines and the battlefields and pyrotechnics. And I mean, they had bombs going off.
Yeah.
And now as you were going through, there were two generals. You had the Axis general and then you had the Allied general. And I forget which side I was on, but growing up hunting, I was a pretty sneaky dude and pretty nimble back in the day. So I'm walking through the woods and I just see this thing on the base of this tree. And I'm like, well, that doesn't look right. And so I'm sneaking up to it and I realize it's a person. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, it's dark, completely dark. So I don't know what side they're on.
Right.
And I am, from me to you, that's how close I am to this guy. And he still can't figure out where I'm at because I can see him kind of looking, but I had the tree that he was sitting on as a cover between the two of us. And he's looking, couldn't find me. And at this point, I'm so close. I was like, well, I'm not going to shoot him because if you're that close, you just call the person out, right?
Yeah.
Say, hey, so I'm asking him, I'm like, hey, Axis or Allied? Are you friend or foe? Axis or Allied, and he's not answering me. And I was like, okay.
Hand to hand. We're going hand to hand.
If you're not going to answer me, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot you. And I was like, I don't want to shoot you this close. And then the dude stands up and goes, you're out. I was like, what? I've literally been stalking you for 20 minutes. You had no idea where I was at. I could have killed you 15 times by now, but I didn't because I was nice. And turns out it was actually one of the generals. Now, when you, and he was the opposing general. So if I had shot him, I would have won like $1,000 paintball setup, the gun, paintballs, everything. But no, because I had integrity and I wasn't going to shoot him that close, I didn't win. But I did sneak up and almost kill a general.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
So, but that's where I'm going is you need to have that camera for proof.
Well, I was playing with people that, of course, I didn't know hardly any of them, but at the same time, hold on. But it was a group of guys that all knew each other. I was there with my brother-in-law, and
I wouldn't be worried about any of them. I'd be worried about you.
Oh, geez.
Talking about you're bleeding and oh yeah, they draw blood and then you're bleeding, but no, those weren't from. Those were from briars. Those were from pellets. Those are from briars, guys.
I don't know, man. I got hit a lot. I'm not saying that I was like this stellar, and I got hit, and I'd go back. And one of the nice things about respawning is like, one of my strategies was I'm gonna go this way and get shot, so they're coming. Because then I'd go back and touch back in. And there was a lot of friendly fire incidents as well.
Yeah,
I can, especially when you get the younger kids, they're just shooting anything that moves, which was fun as well.
That's cool. I'd be in.
Dude, it was awesome.
It's a good way to teach some valuable lessons.
Yeah.
Not shooting your own people and
yeah. Don't run backwards on a battlefield.
Yep. Don't cross your feet when you're running backwards. Don't side.
It wasn't crossing feet. I just straight up fell. It was all. Everything happened in slow motion at the point where I started running and shooting.
Was the ground okay?
Yeah, it was fine. Okay. It was a little wet. Oh, they had some snowfall there, but I loved it, man. That was a lot of fun. If we ever get an opportunity to do it, that'd be great. But I doubt it because man, that's a huge investment to get in.
Sounds like it, especially if it's the price of a real one. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, there's like with everything, right? You're willing to, if you're willing to spend money, then there's something better out there.
I suppose.
Yeah.
It's all about your passion, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Well, good. I'm glad that was fun, and I hope you maintained your integrity.
I was 100% ethical the entire time. So much so that when in doubt, man, just go down, right? No need to get in an argument over stuff like that. It's not church softball.
Church softball.
Oh, gosh.
That's violent.
It is. It can be.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your time out there, and I appreciate you sharing your story of integrity.
I think I'm going to shoot you with an airsoft gun at some point when you're not expecting it.
I've had worse.
Yeah.
He's got you there.
That's true.
So we're going to move on to our top three.
Top
today.
three.
Yeah.
And today we are going with our top 3 teachers or coaches.
Okay.
So, Troy, do you want to start? Because as we were going over this, he's like, I didn't do very well.
I was a very bad student.
Yeah. So I was not a very good kid growing up.
Yeah.
And especially in school. I was kind of a class clown.
So there's no teacher that was like just connected with you? Or
So-
all of them hated your guts?
All of them pretty much hated my guts, except for one, and I'll start with her.
Yeah.
Her name was Miss Drake. She recently passed, I think, a couple of years ago. But so my sister, 3.5 years older than me, your wife.
Yes.
She was a really good student,
Mhm.
and so any teacher that she had, it's like, oh, it's Ashley's little brother, you know. So, you know, she was really good. So they thought
You had some credit going in.
right. So they
Yeah.
thought, well, maybe he'll be good. Well, freshman year, that all got thrown out the window because I was a horrible student in high school in my freshman year. But I had Miss Drake my senior year, and she loved my sister and didn't really want to, listen to any other teachers, I guess.
Yeah.
She just gave me, benefit of the doubt. When he gets in my class, I'll see how he is. And she was awesome. And that was the hardest math class. It was advanced math. It was the hardest math class I ever took. And I'm an art student.
Yeah.
So
That's so. Any math class is hard.
any math class was
Yeah.
hard. So she made math learning fun, and she was cool and really gave me the benefit of the doubt. So
Yeah.
she was awesome. Connected
Sweet.
with her. Number 2, and these are really in no particular order. Number 2 was Coach Siobhan, and he was my basketball coach in middle school. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Mhm.
And we always had 2 basketball teams. And in 6th grade, I remember getting put on so we basically had like varsity and your sub varsity, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
And in 6th grade, I got put on the sub varsity team, and I was not happy about that. And so I worked really hard to get better, and 7th and 8th grade was on the varsity team. But Coach Siobhan, he was one of the players' dads, but he was a coach. He was also a pastor. So he was really good at taking kids kind of under their wing and helping them out with their
Under his wing.
Under his wing, yes, thank you.
It'd be hard for a kid to be under their own wing.
Exactly. But he would just teach us things on the court. Like, he was really good at teaching us about basketball and how to play and how to get our skills better. And he ran us like dogs.
Mhm.
So we'd have stamina. But yeah, he was just really good at basketball, and then just at personal life too. And just kind of giving us tips, what we could do throughout life.
Yeah.
So he was really good. And I really don't have a third one.
Okay. Because you were that bad.
That was that bad. But I pondered this all week, and those are the only two I could come up with.
Now, did you go to college?
I did.
And you had no professors?
None. That really, I mean, I had a few I liked, but none that really just like.
None that made the top 3.
Like hit home to where, I mean, they were all fun. Like I said, I was an art student. We drew and played on the computer a lot, you know. I mean, there was this one teacher, his name was Burgo. He was kind of a hippie kind of guy. And
imagine that. He
taught figure drawing. So, and
he had more of an impression on you than you realize.
Probably.
The hippie part.
That's the year that I started wearing the Birkenstocks.
That's right. He did. No, yeah, but he was a fun teacher. Ended up taking figure drawing twice on accident with him because I only had to take it once. Then I took an advanced drawing class one summer, and there was a lot of sophomores in that class. And he said, "Oh, we're just going to do figure drawing again." But I think it's because he liked getting the nude models in there. So, yeah, a lot of fun. And when you think about a nude model, it's not what you would picture in your mind.
Okay.
It's pretty scary.
I wouldn't know.
Well, as I said before, I was a bad kid.
They didn't do anything like that in the College of Business where I was.
No nudes in the class?
No.
Not intentionally, anyway.
Yeah. Well, no. There you have it. Those are my top 2.5.
2.5.
Perfect.
Chet, what you got?
All right.
You have some good mentor teachers?
I did. I had quite a few. I was a good student on the other side of the coin here than Troy. But I think there were a few that left really good impressions. One coach and two teachers, or one teacher and one professor. Dobie Perkins. I got some pretty interesting names, by the way. Dobie Perkins was my basketball coach, and he's just a fantastic dude. Cared a lot. The typical coach would get upset and yell when you do something stupid. But actually, one of the things that I carried from a philosophical perspective that I still carry with me today, and in the way that I manage people, and everybody that's basically worked for me has heard something from him. And he said something that was very profound and stuck with me. He's like, "Look, I don't care if you ever make a mistake, but you better be going 100% when you make it. You know, like, we're gonna mess up, but if I'm not gonna tolerate you not giving 100%. You know, so that's something that's just really stuck with me. Really good guy. Great from a locker room perspective and just coaching in general, but and a lot of fun. You know, just ribbing everybody and talk about stamina and running and whatnot. And into practice, he'd have, you know, everybody line up for suicides.
Yep.
And we'd run however many he wanted us to run, and then seniors to the line. You know, so your seniors would have to get on the free throw line, and if any of them missed a free throw, then everybody had to run again until all the seniors can get through making free throws without missing until you know, got through, and then practice was over. Every practice, awesome. And you can always tell, you know, the practice after he watched Hoosiers, or you'd have chairs on the gym floor when you walked into practice. Oh, you watched Hoosiers last night. Here we go. You know, that kind of stuff. But great guy. He was primarily a baseball coach. Just kind of picked up basketball as well. And just a great guy. From a teacher perspective, Velt Edwards, Mr. Edwards. I had him for history and for French. But from a history perspective, just passionate about American history is what I remember the most. But we the first day of American history, he basically, and I don't know if this was I'm not going to teach today kind of thing, but like, you're going to quote the preamble to leave my classroom. Like,
wow,
that's okay. Get to it. Like, here's some copies of it. And we would have to stand up in a line at the door and quote certain things. So we had to do the presidents in order. Yeah, we got to, the first 15 presidents, you're going to have to quote them in order before you can leave today. Certain days of the week. But really dug into that kind of stuff, knowledge, lots of reports, lots of stuff on the Civil War. But there was nobody that could leave his class and not say they didn't learn anything. I mean, he was very diligent about teaching. And then in college, my advisor, I actually had him for a class, one of my classes as well, is Dr. Means. And he was an associate dean in the business school. We literally, the book we used in his class is one of the textbooks he wrote, which was pretty interesting. We went around the class. There was, 50 students in the class, and we went down every row and introduced ourselves and gave a little elevator speech about ourselves on the first day. Second day of class, we came in there, and we didn't have assigned seats. You just sit wherever. He knew every one of our names. Like,
wow.
Boom, boom, Troy, Matt, all the way down. And I'm like, this is fantastic. But very business communications is what I had him for. And, he something that stuck with me is look, you are what you communicate. Emails, phone calls, conference calls, presentations, every one of those is an impression that you make, and every one of them is important. And if you can do this effectively, you're going to be viewed differently than people that can't, regardless of what you're capable of. And that's also stuck with me as well. So those are my top 3.
Very good.
Matt?
Were those all college?
No. High school, and college.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't play college ball. Yeah.
Well, I figured. I was confused whether the last.
What?
I was confused by whether.
Figured that was.
Yeah.
So there were 2 high school and 1
there.
college.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Means was college. He was my advisor.
They didn't have
That was your business school.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They didn't have Airsoft back then
No.
to play in college.
No.
That's back when Chet still had integrity, apparently. Because we can call into play his integrity on the whole the trophy ordeal.
No, you can't. There's video evidence of that.
There's no integrity there, Chet.
100% integrity.
No integrity.
Score sheet counts.
But there's no integrity because it's not an honest win.
What? Well, it's not a trophy
Listen,
win
I'm
for you,
hey.
Mr. Tied for third.
We did tie that day, Matt.
I'm getting ready to turn both your microphones on. So
lots of integrity coming through over on that side of the table, isn't there, Troy?
well, it looks bad in this instance because it's 2-on-1, but it's whatever. There's an asterisk by everything there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So for my top 3 teachers or coaches, and I really can't go in any particular order on these guys, but I'll go with the order of introduction. So the first one was actually my neighbor, Jerry Henson. So we moved out to the country when I was a kid, and none of my family hunted or fished. And he is the guy that basically sparked the passion that has now been a lifelong passion for me and taught me how to set trot lines, how to, what you're going to use to fish for what. And took me on my first hunt, which was a dove hunt. Took me, trap shooting, sporting clays, and taught me a great deal about the outdoors. I mean, he's an incredibly intelligent individual. His son, Chris, is no different. His son, Chris, graduated from Harvard. And Jerry himself was a psychologist, or psychiatrist, actually. And that I will say, as far as a teacher, teaching me about the outdoors and sparking that lifelong passion for me, and set me up to be basically kind of who I am today with that passion, because I couldn't get that internally, from my mom or my dad, because neither of them hunted. And so I one of the very most influential people in my life, and he probably doesn't even know how much of an impact he had, which just goes to show, hey, take those
matters.
Yeah, take those kids under your wing if they have an interest, spark, fuel that fire a little bit.
Yeah.
So that would be the first person. The second person was when we moved to this new district, and of course I was in grade school at the time, but moving to high school, I would have to say it's so I've got an interesting name, Casey Jones, not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy.
Yeah, you lost me on that.
Casey Jones?
Yeah, I'll follow you.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chet, whatever.
Must be a young whippersnapper thing.
But he was my English teacher / creative writing teacher. And the way that he made English fun is absolutely incredible, because learning that is typically not a whole lot of fun. But his and then, taking it a step further and going through his English class to his creative writing. And he's the one that kind of fueled the fire for my ability to write. So anytime I would turn something in, creative writing wise, he'd give me that feedback, and he'd be like, well, what about this? What about this? And I would change this. And then there was a couple of papers that I wrote with the intent to shock my audience, and they weren't they weren't my greatest work ever.
Yeah.
But he sat me down and goes, are you sure this is what you want to write? And I was like, well, I guess not. So, but always challenging. He was also a basketball coach for the JV, freshman JV team. And so going into his class, I mean, he always he was extremely funny, which made everything. I love having funny teachers that can make jokes and have fun. But do you guys know what onomatopoeia is?
Yeah.
Heard of that.
Yeah.
So onomatopoeia, if I haven't forgotten, because I don't know the exact definition, but it's those expressive word, like boom, pow, bang. Right?
Yeah.
So
sounds correct.
When we're in,
I'm with you. I trust you.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. If it's not, then somebody will fact check me and tell us. But extremely hard word to spell.
Yeah.
Right. But he had it broken down to the Mickey Mouse song.
You sing it.
So it's ONOMATOPOEIA, onomatopoeia. So, and that's something. I mean, I was back, a freshman in high school.
You'd never thought you'd hear come out of
and
Matt
I would,
mouth.
I will never in my life forget that.
That's awesome.
Nor will I.
And so, fast forward now. We came back, and my kids go to the same school that my wife and I went to, and my daughter's a freshman now, and when they first got to school. He was there, and then he also was announcing the football games on Friday nights.
Oh, yeah.
And so I hadn't seen him. Now, when I came back and they did my key ceremony for my house, he showed up along with my track and cross country coach.
Yeah.
And so I remember that they showed up, and I thought that was pretty cool. But just an extremely influential person in my life that I try to take a page out of when I write, and he's still posting on Facebook now. He's got all these crazy videos of him on hold with various car warranty people, and he just records the conversations. It's pretty funny. So he hasn't lost his sense of humor. And then the third person that I was introduced to was Ron Rabu, the founder of Wounded Warrior Outdoors. So back when I was injured, he came to the hospital and did a presentation about Wounded Warrior Outdoors, the organization, and what they did. And it's hunting, right? And so I'm all on board. And going out on that first hunt with him, post losing my legs, was life-changing for me. But beyond that, he is an extremely successful business person.
Mm-hmm.
He started this organization, almost 10 years ago, maybe. And it was, it's been longer than that now, maybe 15. But took that and basically turned that into his passion. So here he's got this extremely successful business, but he's most proud of what he's been able to do with Woodward Outdoors. But when I was starting Admiral's Pennant, I got basically the school of business straight from Ron. I mean, here's what I would do. Here's what I learned. Because, he wasn't, he didn't grow up wealthy. Matter of fact, when they were starting their company, I remember, I'll never forget the story he told me. He goes, my business partner and I were in my living room, and our desk was our dog crate for our hunting dogs.
Yeah.
And that was our desk. We had $126 in the bank. We were both married. We'd quit our jobs. Both of our wives, we'd found out had just gotten pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't know how we were going to make our next paycheck. And then all of a sudden, contract rolled in, and another one, and then another one, and then another one, till today they've got, 2,000 employees across the world. And they're just doing it extremely, extremely well. And so, taking a page out of his book and learning from him was extremely educational for me, and easily one of the top 3 most, excellent teachers that I've had. And I'm kind of like you. I don't have any college professors that really trip my trigger at all. Mostly because I went to I don't think it's any secret that I'm more conservative than anything, but I went to an extremely liberal school because my focus was fish and wildlife biology, and I argued with my instructors all the time.
Yeah.
And so it really, to the point, I mean, I had a 4.0 through college until one class that the instructor and I came to differences on a certain subject, and I got an 89, and I just quit going to school completely because I was pretty offended.
Okay.
Well, that we'll save that story for another time because that's a long story. But
Can't wait to hear that one.
oh,
That's got to be good.
yeah, yep. It wasn't good. It was pretty bad. But so yeah, those 3 guys, I would say have been my greatest teachers and coaches.
Cool. I think it's just really neat, the impact. We're talking 20, 30 years ago for all of us to have somebody we still think about today that did something 30 years ago.
I'm closer to that 20.
Okay. Grade school 20 years ago. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
No, that none of those were well, Jerry was grade school.
Yeah, I know. I was listening. You said grade school. Mm-hmm.
That might be 30. 25 maybe. Maybe 25.
All right. Troy, you got a good word for us?
So I got a good word.
Kick it.
That's a great. Those are 2 great words. Kick it. No, but the word I have for us today is from we talked about him on our Christmas episode teaser. His name is Rocky Balboa.
Ooh.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Okay, man.
So we're now, a month into 2021, and I think we took a lot of hits back in 2020, and we just got to remember that life's going to punch you and hit you, but you just got to keep moving forward.
Word.
Keep getting up. Keep pushing.
That's right.
So kind of in the same line, we were talking about high school, talking about Rocky. The quote in my high school yearbook for me is a quote from Rocky IV.
Ah,
No way.
Yeah.
nice.
What was it?
So it was in that scene when
I will break him.
Nope. No, it wasn't I Will Break You. But it was when he had just gotten to Russia. They're doing that whole training montage, and he's standing upstairs, and I forget the guy's name. It was the black coach,
I don't remember their names.
the bald guy.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
But so he's like now, he was Apollo Creed's guy,
right.
but he goes, now you're gonna have to go through hell, worse than any nightmare that you've ever dreamed. But in the end, I know that you're going to be the one standing. And so that was my high school yearbook quote, actually.
Okay.
And
Nice.
funny,
I like
20
that.
some odd years later,
You went through hell.
I've been through that, and
And
so,
you're standing.
and I'm still standing.
Yeah.
Thanks to Steve Peebles.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, there's again just another way that Rocky is better than Die Hard. Right there is the life quotes that come out of that movie are way better than
They're yearbook material.
than
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah. They're yearbook material.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, thank you for that good word, Troy.
You are welcome. You going to take us out, Chet?
Yes, I am.
Somebody that's got that thing memorized, because I sure as heck
I'm
don't.
not starting until I hear some music, though.
I'm gonna go ahead and kick it.
Thank you for listening to Hardheaded Podcast. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Admiral's Pennant. Because of them, you can find us anywhere on the interwebs or wherever you listen to podcasts. And so if you like listening or watching podcasts, you can find us on YouTube. ///Hardheaded.
Hard-headed.
Thanks for listening. Talk to
See
you
ya.
next week.